Is it actually possible to retire in Canada using rental properties? It's a question I've had people ask me, and it's a question that I've wondered in the past. And yes, it is absolutely possible. And I'm going to break down the real numbers, real costs, realistic scenarios that every Canadian could use today to retire decades earlier with rental properties. So, welcome back, guys. My name is Jeff, and on this channel, we talk about building wealth in real life, not in some sort of fantasy land. I'm based here in Canada, and we're going to use numbers like the average Canadian income, the average home price, typical expenses you could run into, and this way you can see how you can turn one into multiple rental properties and potentially enough to retire on later on. So let's start with the numbers that everybody tries to ignore. The first thing we're going to talk about is the average Canadian salary, which is around $65,000 per year. After tax, that's roughly $4,300 per month, depending on the province where you live. The average home price in Canada right now is around $700,000. Though this seems to be a lot, it does vary depending on location. Where I am, it's much lower than that, not even half. Now, the average household spends roughly $4,000 a month on everything, and that's housing, groceries, transportation, utilities, insurance, etc. Things like that. It's about $4,000 a month, meaning most Canadians break even every month. So the idea of owning a rental property sounds impossible until you actually see how the math works. So to retire comfortably in Canada, the average person needs about $3,000 to $4,000 per month after tax to pay their bills. So if you reverse engineer that, if one property is cash flowing, say $400 to $500 per month, that means 5 rental properties will get you about $2,000 to $2,500 per month. 6 to 8 rental properties could be between $3,000 and $4,000 per month, and 10 properties is $5,000 to $6,500 per month. But the big thing people don't realize is most people don't buy 10 properties at once. You buy one, you let it sit for a while, appreciate, build some equity, you raise the rents year over year if you can, you refinance it, and now you just let that snowball. So we're going to look at a realistic example here, something that's not in Vancouver, not in Toronto, and not some made up fantasy land, but we'll use a small or mid-sized city Canadian market where rentals still make sense. Places like Northern Ontario, London, Windsor, Edmonton's outskirts, Saskatoon, places like that where you can get a typical property for say $400,000. Now you need 20% down if it's going to be a rental property in Canada, likely, and that's about $80,000. With that, you're financing about $320,000 at say 5%, which is a nice easy round number. Your monthly mortgage payment works out to about $1,850 per month that way. So now you're going to have taxes, insurance, and maintenance of say $450 to $500. Therefore, your total expenses are $2,300. Now, if you look to rent it out, if you were to get something, say, rented out like that for $2,800 to $3,000, which is absolutely possible in these markets, I guarantee you that, and I guarantee you it's doable where I live today. That leaves $450 to say $650 per month cash flow positive in your pocket. That's exactly why people buy rentals. It's not just for the cash flow alone, but building equity, loan pay down, the tax advantages are huge, and appreciation over time. So most people don't get started because they think they need a 6-figure salary right away to be able to buy a rental, and you don't. Most Canadians can do it by saving the $80,000 down payment. Now it does take time, but it's doable with discipline if you try. Or you could do the second option and use the equity in your primary home. If you've had your house for a few years, you've been paying it off, not missing payments, you've been very good, you got lucky and the market appreciated, you should have equity in your home that you can access. And this is how most Canadians do it with their first one. If your home was up in value, the mortgage is paid down, you can get a HELOC or a home equity line of credit or refinance it and unlock your very first down payment for a property. Now, other options include buying your very first home, the one that your primary residence you're going to live in, as a duplex or triplex. Now you can live in one unit and rent out the other one or the other two depending on the size. That way you have better financing when it comes to buying another property later on, but you're also doing something called house hacking and potentially living for free in the house that you live in now. Your fourth option you could do is buy a partner, because 2 average incomes is 1 strong approval when it comes to financing. So this is where the magic's going to happen now. If you take scenario that I just showed you where you're getting $400 to $600 per month cash flow, it's paying down the mortgage, you're raising the rents on average 2% a year is kind of typical here in Ontario. Now your rents are going up, therefore your cash flow is increasing. Your mortgages typically don't go up while you're locked into a term. The property will appreciate. Sometimes, like on long term in Canada, it's 5 to 6%, depending on the cycle that it's in right now. So on a $400,000 rental, that's $20,000 to $24,000 per year in equity gain that you're getting just by owning that home. Now, if you own that home for say 5 years and refinance it, your property that you paid $400,000 for is now worth $500,000. You can often pull $50,000 plus out of that tax-free out of your home and use that for your down payment on property number 2. Now, if you repeat this process every 3 to 5 years using your income plus your equity and your rental cash flow, you can do this increasingly faster as time goes on. So now that we are talking about how to do it, we're going to talk about some theoretical numbers. Let's try to build a realistic retirement plan with the average numbers and see what it looks like. So say in year 0, today, right now, you have nothing going for you. You're starting today. You go out and buy your first rental property like we discussed. Now it's cash flowing, say $500 a month, as our scenario showed is very possible. You wait 5 years from now. You should take a look at your property. It was $400 when you bought it. Now it's $500,000. You refinance it and say you pull $70,000 out of it tax-free. You use that, flip it into another rental property. Now you have 2 rental properties, and say the first one is cash flowing $600 a month because your rents have now increased in year 5, and you now just bought a new property also cash flowing $500. You just turned nothing in 5 years into $1,100 a month cash flow. Now, if you do the same thing again, wait 5 years, let it appreciate, increase rents, this is where the snowball kind of starts to hit. Both rentals have appreciated, your loan pay down on them has increased your equity, you refinance property 1 or 2, and you buy yourself your 3rd rental property. Now you have $700 cash flow from the first property, $600 cash flow from the second property, and your 3rd property just started cash flowing you $500. It's only been 10 years, and now you're making $1,800 a month without getting out of bed every month, guaranteed. Now we're in year 15 to 20. Later on down the road, you may have 4 to 6 rental properties, depending at the rate that you did this at, because some people are more aggressive, some are more passive. If you increase the rents as much as you can and increase your mortgage pay down as much as you can throughout this process, like keep it going the whole time, your cash flow could easily become $3,000 to $5,000 per month, even using conservative assumptions with this. So if your mortgage is paid off later on, now you just had a huge boost to your cash flow. You could be upwards of $7,000 to $12,000 per month, and that is easily retirement income. So now let's just do a quick little reality check here. This isn't magic, this isn't super passive, and this isn't guaranteed. The thing that is true is people retire all the time with real estate. Equity grows quietly in the background, almost guaranteed. Rent increases protect you from inflation, which is something people need to understand, and debt always gets smaller every month. Every payment you make makes your debt smaller. Cash flows typically improve over time, and appreciation compounds year over year. This is the wealth numbers behind thousands of people being able to retire early. So if I had an average income and I was starting from scratch today, own nothing, I would buy 1 duplex as my first home. I would let half of it cover my mortgage and rent it out to tenants, and I would live in the other half. I would then start to save as aggressively as possible while still living my life and try to keep my expenses as low as possible for the next down payment. I would try to do this if possible in a city that's not overpriced. I would pick cash flowing markets that I mentioned earlier. I would try to, if possible, refinance every 5 to 7 years and just let the snowball fund itself. Let it grow more and more. Try to aim for 4 to 6 rental properties long term, and that should be enough if done properly in the right market with an average income to fund itself and retire early. If you guys want me to run more numbers like this with, say, trying to retire with 2 rentals or how much cash flow you would need to replace your income, drop a comment below and I'll start working on more videos like that. If you guys want more content on Canadian real estate, finance, building wealth, make sure to hit subscribe. I've got lots on the channel. I've got lots coming. I make videos to help regular people get real results, not financial fairy tales.